Would you read it for the camera? I think it's a great
Dear
letter.
Mr. Stanton, I have long been a fan of yours. You are a American original. I don't think you get all the credit you are due. Your talent is overlooked because you make it look so easy. I may be just a old redneck country boy, but I know natural talent when I see it. Too many pretty boys on the screen now. Give me a actor with real guts and a natural everyman ability. Please send me a autographed photo. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Charlie Spencer. Originally, I was supposed to do that scene in RepoMan with a gun, where he uses blanks for that the black guy did.
The one that Cy Richardson did?
Yeah, I think I was supposed to do that originally. I think Alex was pissed off at me at that time. We got in a couple of big hassles on the film.
Have you ever thought about directing? Have you directed stuff?
No, one time Francis Coppola, I was working with him on a film, One from the Heart, and he said, Harry Dean, you direct this scene. No director of his stature, or any director in my lifetime has ever said that. And I directed the scene. Fred Forrest and Terry Garr.
You've done over 50 TV credits and over 100 film credits.
Might be 170 now, I don't know. That was, I don't know him.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of longevity in a field where a lot of people don't have much longevity. Why you think you have such longevity?
Everything, as far as I'm concerned, everything is predestined. Everybody's scared shitless of that word, predestined. It's all predestined. This is predestined. We didn't know all this was going to go down today, and people generally cannot accept that. But that's part of the game that's being played too. Some people accept it. I accept it. Other people don't.
So you don't think things in your life shape what's going to happen to you? Like you were in the Navy when you were like, what, maybe 19, 20 years old, something like that?
Yeah, so.
You were in World War II.
Yeah.
You don't think that changed your outlook on anything that has happened to you after that?
Of course. Everything changed my outlook.
Right. I mean, you did a lot of theater. You know, you were in New York. You know, what made you decide that you wanted to come to LA?
Again, there's no answer to that. Don't you follow what I'm trying to say?
Well,
everybody wants an answer to why I did this, why all this happened. Ultimately, there's no answer to it. Everything happens the way it's going to happen. Nobody's in charge. It's all going to go down. You know, Iraq, the war, Napoleon, serial killers, wars, all of it. You never know what's going to happen next. We think we're in charge. 10 seconds from now, none of us in this room know what we're going to be thinking or saying. So who the fuck's in charge? Do you ever know the word noosphere?
I've heard the word.
You've heard it?
Define it for me.
Noosphere is the sphere of human consciousness and mental activity on the planet, and which is a phenomenon that happened when the planet gradually evolved and men have evolved and they became conscious. There was consciousness and awareness and the reflection of everything that's happening. And that's the noosphere, especially related to its influence on the biosphere, all the living things, and the evolution of that consciousness. Now that's all happening as one huge organic whole.
But is the noosphere a constant?
It's constant until it goes.
Right.
Eventually the Earth's not going to be here, and at one time it wasn't here. Don't you get it? And it's all going to go.
Well, that's kind of it sounds like a nihilist cop-out in some ways.
Total nihilism. What's wrong with that?
Does nihilism excuse you from responsibility?
What's nihilism?
Well, what you pretty much just said, a belief that
you're nothing.
That events, that you're nothing, that events are happening regardless of you.
Ultimately, there is no individual you entity. That's an illusion, but that's part of the noosphere, the game that consciousness is playing on the planet. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to be all wise and pontificating and, you know, and my son, let me tell you, fuck that. There's a lot of enlightened guys around today, just as enlightened as Christ was, or Buddha, or any of them. There's a German guy, Eckhart Tolle, Tony Parsons, this guy in France. There's guys all over that, and Einstein too, and Heisenberg. So the atomic physicists, they arrived at the same point, that science can't solve the mystery of the universe. So you ultimately end up with no answer. It's just what is. So that's the Buddhist concept, that it's an illusion. It's not only an illusion, it's insane. And one guy said it was to realize when man thought he was a separate individual with a separate soul, created a violent situation.
So how much of your philosophical beliefs do you bring into the roles that you play?
I don't have any philosophical beliefs.
How much of your notion of existence do you bring into the roles you play?
Do I bring into it?
Does the way you look at the world influence the way you act in a film?
Obviously.
You know, Harry, the ending of RepoMan, you say something. You go, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Live on my knees, yeah. Yeah. That was Emiliano Zapata.
Zapata.
Yeah.
Did you do that a lot in films? Do you bring in your, general, I mean, all kinds of knowledge and try to infuse it into roles, like in lines?
Yeah, when the opportunity presents itself, yeah.
You work within a community. Is that community important to you in any way?
Nothing's important, ultimately.
So when a director tells you to do something that you feel is not truthful, can you do that?
No.
Why wouldn't you just say, okay, it doesn't really matter. It might make me look like a jerk, but so what?
Well, all of this I'm talking about, nothing matters and everything, that's part of the game. I'm playing the game, but I know it's a game.
Who are the greatest actors that have influenced you?
Oh, Marlon, of course, and Marlon and I were good friends too. We talked about all these things all the time for hours on the phone before he died. Marlon asked me once, he said, "What do you think of me?" And I said, "I think you're nothing." He went, he knew what I was talking about. It was the whole Eastern concept. One guy phrased it, to realize you're nothing is wisdom. To realize you're everything is love, or pure intelligence, pure awareness. And ultimately that can be defined in words. It's beyond words, it's beyond consciousness. And that's a hard sell. But it's true.
Do you spend a lot of time thinking about the roles you want to accept, or do you believe that it's just better, hey man, just throw yourself in the mix and work?
I read the script. It depends on what the script has to say, the writing. Is it intelligent writing? Is the dialogue good? Is it believable? Is what the film's saying makes sense? What impact it's going to have on an audience?
All of these things factor into what you want to do and what you want to do. Because I think I read somewhere too, in going through things, a quote by you saying that you had missed meetings and had not done things that you thought you could have done and made your career more successful.
Oh yeah, I could be more richer and famous than I am. I have opportunities to. But somewhere at the time the decisions came up, I said no. And again, there's no answer to that. That's just the way
Are there regrets for that?
For a moment, but then I realized how totally useless that is. But that's the way things happen. Again, I'm not in charge of it. Everything evolves that way, and that's what is.
But you know,
and I can't sit around and regret it. I might sit around and regret it, but that's part of the big picture too. I might not.
Yeah, because you know what the other side of that quote was? The other side of the quote said that you said, yeah, but it would have taken a lot more of my time.
Yeah, I didn't want to work 24 hours a day every day. That's why I've never directed. I could be a good director. But it's too much work. I don't want to work. I wasn't geared that. I wasn't genetically wired that way when I was born. All these decisions happened the way they happened.
Would you be considered a difficult person to work with? Do you think directors consider you difficult or easy?
If I'm right, I'll be difficult, yeah. I take a project because I trust the people I'm with, the director, the other actors, the writers, the script. Are they all talented? And if that's not there, then I don't want to be involved in it.
So you had training. Your whole background was in theater. Do you think theater made you a more meticulous actor?
Well, anybody can be a film actor. If you've got a good director and a good script, especially a good director, You can take a guy off the street and he'll be good at it.
Who's the best director you've ever worked with?
I can't pick one and say he's the best of all.
Not the best. Maybe who did you have the most affinity with?
All the good ones I've worked with. I worked with Alfred Hitchcock. I worked with John Huston. I've worked with Martin Scorsese. I worked with Francis Coppola. David Lynch, brilliant director. They're all brilliant. They're all great directors.
And what do you think makes a great director?
If they know their job, if they know what they're doing, they have a vision, they have a, if they've got their shit together, you know. And
have you ever worked with people who haven't had their shit together,
of course,
but who have still made interesting films?
Yeah, Alex Cox. I'm not attacking Alex. It's just we had differences, and he knows this. But that's, you know, these are just ego. This is ego, different, you know, conflicts.
Do you look at yourself in a sage-like way at all?
In certain situations, yeah.
So you think you have...
But it's a role. It's just a role, you know.
But life's a role, right?
Huh?
Life's a role. You just said it's all a game.
Yeah, it's all a movie. All of this here, all of this, all of us here, and the war in Iraq, the whole fucking thing. It's all a movie.
Okay, now you're
and
talking.
It's in the can, and
it's not in the can.
Oh
One
yeah,
rock
it's
is
in the
not
fucking
in the
can,
fucking
man.
can.
That's what you don't understand. You think you have some influence on it? You think you can save the world?
I think you'd change some things, yeah.
No, that was written. It is written.
But that makes it sound like the frickin' biblical. You sound like Pat Robertson when you talk like that. It is written.
Pat Robertson, that idiot? I'm not saying that. I'm saying everything is going to happen the way it's going to happen. And you have nobody has anything to do with it. Don't you understand what I'm saying?
So you don't think if we could have defeated Bush in the last election, this frickin' war might not have happened?
That had to happen the way it happened. It all happens. Everything happens and nobody's in charge of it. Don't you get it?
Have you procreated?
Huh?
Have you procreated?
Procreated?
Yeah.
Why
Well,
is that?
because I just think, what about future generations? Do you think in terms of future generations?
No. Care less about future generations.
You don't care what happens to people after this one? After you're gone, do you think anything makes any difference?
I'm not responsible, no.
Would you rather leave things better or worse?
I don't care. Ultimately, there's no I that has anything to do with it. This is what you're not getting. So I care about everything, but I don't. So what? You know, that sounds nihilistic again and everything. But at my age, where I am now, where my head is now, it's you know, it's ultimately it's not important, and I don't say that in a negative sense. Ultimately, it's not important. It's all going to go. It's just a fucking dream, man, all of it. And it's not being cynical or nihilistic, or you can put all kind of labels on it, but it's just what is, and period.
The guy who says, you know, row, row, row your boat
gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream, and that's what it is to me.
Let's play it, man.
Row, row, row your boat,
row,
down the stream,
row your boat,
merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat, gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat, gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
So Harry, what are you doing now? What's
I'm doing a series on the Mormons for HBO. Tom Hanks producing it, his company, called Big Love. It's about the Mormon polygamists. I'm playing a patriarch, 11 wives. The youngest one's 14 years old.
Well, do you find it hard to play a believer?
It's no harder than living than this is. It's all
part of the game.
It's all a game. It's all a movie. It's all a game. And there you are.
So Harry, any thoughts about RepoMan? The fact that it's lived on this long, that this character, this everyman character that the people see in Bud, so strongly relate to.
Yeah, it was Alex's writing, and it was his concept.
But don't you think you bring an everyman quality to a lot of the roles that you play?
I bring myself, whatever that is, and
there was another quote I saw here. We were talking about Paris, Texas, and you said, I took the same approach as I would to any other part. I play myself as totally as I possibly can.
Yeah.
My own Harry Dean Stanton act.
Yeah.
What does that mean? You play, you mean you try to become as much of you as you can in the roles that you play?
Of course. Who else can I be?
I mean, you went from being Bud, and then a couple weeks later, you were Travis.
Yeah, but every human being that watches Bud or Travis or Marlon Brando in a role or any actor in a role, every human being in the audience can identify with everything the guy's doing. Everybody's experienced everything, or at least thought about it or felt what's going on the screen. It's all connected. There's nothing unusual about it. You have to be still and wait. Be still and know. It's on the wall up there. Be still and know.
The ending of RepoMan, the fact that the kid transcends and you end up getting shot in the chest and laying in the, dying in the parking lot. Well, we don't know. Why did he transcend? Why didn't you go off?
There you go again, man. You think there's an answer to that?
Why didn't you get to go?
That's the way life is. It's all a move. It's in the can. It was written. It's the way it was written. Surrender to it. Roll your boat. Yeah, I've got a thing here. One little thing. I don't know what page it's on. It's a book on Marlon. His auction. They auctioned off all his stuff. I've got a quote in here. The tears I shed yesterday have become rain. Marlon, God, I love that guy. He's great. I like a quote that not many people have heard of Einstein's. He says, the new religion must be a cosmic religion. It should transcend personal God and avoid dogma and theology. Covering both the natural and spiritual, it should be based on a religious sense arising from the experience of all things natural and spiritual as a meaningful whole. Said Buddhism answers this description. If there's any religion that could cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism. So he arrived at the same place the Buddhists did, and the Taoists. Taoism, the same thing. Well, there's another one that's very in the same vein from the Tao Te Ching, the Taoism,
Right.
It says, if you don't realize your source, you stumble in sorrow and confusion, which is Buddhism, suffering.
Right.
If you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested or detached, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king, immersed in the wonder of it all, or the Tao. You can deal with whatever life brings you, and when death comes, you're ready. Seeing everything as a meaningful whole, religion and everything. The one connected whole.
One connected whole.
Yeah, all of it. And Jung on my door over there, as a matter of fact, I got a great quote from Carl Jung. He said, the self is a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Nihilism? No. But there's a little Japanese poem, short poem, Old pond, frog jumps in, splash.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Says
enough.
it all.
That's it.
Harry?
Okay, thank you, pal.
Thank you, pal. Really appreciate it. I appreciate the time and the insights, man.
Yeah. If you talk to Alex, tell him I love him, okay?
I definitely will tell him that you love him. You guys made a great film together.
Yeah, and it's still playing.
It's still playing all the time.
Ultimately, you have to say nothing's important, and that's not a negative point of view. It's just what is.
Yeah.
And everybody knows it. Everybody's aware of it. There's no corner on this market that I'm talking about. Christ was trying to say the same thing. Row, row, row your boat, row down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.